In 2 Kings chapter 6, there's a story about Elisha, and he was in Dothan with his servant. And the king of Syria was trying to attack Israel and was constantly being thwarted. And the king asked his men, which one of you is for Israel? Who's giving Israel this information? And they said, none of us is for Israel, but there's this man, Elisha. And he tells the king of Israel everything you say, even in your bedroom. So the king of Syria said, okay, so go down and get this guy and seize him. So the next morning, the servant of Elisha went outside, and he looks, and on the mountaintops are soldiers and chariots, and he becomes very fearful. They're surrounding the city. And he wakes up Elisha and says, Elisha, we're surrounded. And he's got a great deal of fear. And Elisha says, no, because he that is with us is greater than he that is with them. And Elisha prays to the Lord that the Lord would open the eyes of the servant. And all of a sudden the servant's eyes, his spiritual eyes, are opened, and he looks, and there's chariots and the armies of the Lord surrounding their armies, the armies of the Syrian king. Sometimes we have the eyes of Elisha. God is working in us, and we have faith, and we're strong, we're resilient. We know God has got a plan, and we have faith in Him and that He will carry out His plan. Sometimes we find ourselves with the eyes of the servant, unable to see what God is doing, not certain of where the plan is. And God says, in those times, it doesn't mean that He doesn't have a plan or that He's not in control. It just means that we can't see it. Sometimes it's because He's chosen to hide it from us. Sometimes it's because we're faltering. Maybe we're not spending our time in the Word like we should, or we're not praying as often as we should, that we're not investing into our relationship with the Lord the way we should be doing. So I encourage you during these times to be reading your Word, to be studying the Word, to be spending time in prayer, to invest your time in others and praying for them, interceding for those that are really struggling during these times. Be the neighbor that God has called you to be, the son, the daughter, the brother, the sister, whatever it is. It is a time where God has given us an opportunity to reflect on our society, but also on our lives individually. To take into account the things that so often fall to the wayside because we're in such a hurry. We've got to get to work, or we've got to get home. There's just the whole tyranny of the urgent, where we're so caught up and so wrapped up in what has to happen right now that we forget the things that are important. Those quiet times that we spend with God, just sharing our heart with Him and taking the time to listen to His voice and what He's saying to us.